In a small, seemingly peaceful town, a chilling secret festers beneath the surface. Time appears to have paused here, with cobblestone streets lined with quaint houses and scenic landscapes that rhythmically dance with the shifting hues of the seasons. The sun faithfully rises and sets over this supposed paradise, casting an almost deceptive glow over the rooftops. The innocent laughter of children playing in the parks echoes through the serene streets, while neighbors exchange tales over fences and cups of tea, their voices heavy with shared history and communal bonds. However, beneath this picturesque surface, a nameless dread lurks. It's a cold shiver that trails down your spine, a fear that gnaws at the pit of your stomach. A presence so unsettling whispers in the wind and skulks in the shadows, fracturing the town's tranquility. The elderly, their faces ghostly, converse about it in hushed tones. The young ones, their youthful curiosity replaced with premature wariness, are ushered indoors as soon as the sun begins to set. Unexplained deaths punctuate the town's serene atmosphere with macabre regularity, each demise adding another ominous stitch to the grim tapestry of terror that cloaks the town. With each life cruelly snuffed out, the shadows appear darker, the whispers grow louder, the dread intensifies. Fearful glances and hurried conversations spread the rumors like a virulent plague, infecting the residents with a terror as contagious as it is unspoken. As the night descends and the shadows grow longer, stories of a dark secret start to circulate. Stories not just about the unexplained deaths, but also of strange occurrences, of ghostly apparitions appearing and disappearing, of hushed cries and muted sobs in the dead of night. Each whisper, each rumor, is carried by the malicious wind itself, seeping into the very bones of the town, creeping into the ears of every haunted resident. The town morphs into a living, breathing embodiment of fear, pulsating with a sense of foreboding that stubbornly clings to every shadowy corner. The whispers carry tales of treachery, of an ancient curse cast by an enraged witch, vengeful and unrelenting. A curse that reaps its revenge in the most sinister of ways, filling the townsfolk with an insurmountable dread. A chilling tale of betrayal and witchery that has its roots buried deep in the town's history. Beneath the whispers of the wind and the quiet hum of everyday life, a macabre tale of an ancient witch's curse begins to unravel itself, painting a dark and terrifying picture that the town is forced to live through, day after horrifying day. The story unfolded, speaking of a witch, a sorceress of unparalleled power, who once roamed the town's cobblestone paths, an entity shrouded in mystery. She was betrayed, wronged not by a few, but by the entire town, most notably by its forefathers. In her moment of desperation, the very people she sought refuge in turned their backs, imprinting a scar of betrayal so deep, her soul bled from it. The compassion and warmth she once held for her town were replaced with an unending chasm of raging wrath. Consumed by her fury, she invoked an ominous curse, a deadly proclamation, a pledge filled with sorrow, that would stretch through the generations, seeping into the lives of the innocent progenies, demanding a death toll for their ancestors' treachery. The intensity of her curse was such that it shook the very foundation of the town. Her words, a volatile concoction of blazing anger and icy despair, seized the air, echoing through the centuries, resonating in the hearts of those who dared to remember. Only when the moon bleeds and the river runs in reverse can this curse be unraveled, she had foretold. It was a chilling decree, as icy as her wrath-filled spirit. The prophecy held a fear so palpable that it sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to listen. It bore a weight, a burden that was more than mere words. It was a testament of truth, a revelation that unearthed the sins of their forefathers, a reflection pooling in the faces of their descendants. The very life of the town was intertwined with this curse, a chilling labyrinth from which escape seemed impossible. The town's destiny was sealed by this curse, and only the unfathomable truth could break their shackles. This was their lore, whispered in hushed, trembling voices, passed down from generation to generation. It bore regret heavier than the mountain, a haunting reminder of their forefathers' wicked deeds, a prophecy that bore the weight of unspoken truth. The fate of our town is forever lost with this curse, and only an unearthed truth can set us free. The town's oldest resident, with 100 years of wisdom etched on her face, whispered these words with an expression burdened by dread, the weight of her years carving deeper lines of worry on her face. Overwhelmed by a fear that gnawed at their hearts, The townspeople begin to confront their darkest secrets, the buried truths they never dared utter. A profound apprehension, akin to a spectral fog, enshrouded the quaint town. Its once jovial, bustling streets now echoed with an eerie silence, broken only by the chilling whisper of the wind and the disconcerting rustle of the leaves. Suddenly the town, once a haven of laughter and joy, morphed into a mausoleum of secrets, each brick and stone serving as a silent witness to the terrifying transgressions and sins of its residents. The air, pregnant with the heaviness of 1,000 unspoken confessions, was thick with regret and a harrowing anticipation. It was as if the town itself was holding its breath, teetering on the edge of an abyss, awaiting the devastating tempest of revelations. From the old widow in her weathered cobblestone cottage to the young, sinewy blacksmith in the bustling market square, from the desolate farmer nursing a broken heart to the stern schoolmaster with a facade as rigid as stone, each had a chilling secret, a ghost from their past to reveal. One by one they shuffled into the public square, their faces ghostly pale, eyes brimming with desperation, pleading for absolution. The public square, once the heartbeat of the town, now turned into a chilling confessional. The confessions began as a reluctant trickle, morphed into a steady stream, and ultimately erupted into a torrential flood that threatened to drown the entire town in its wake. The confessions were a chilling reflection of the townspeople themselves. Some were of petty thefts and inconsequential lies, a stark contrast to others which were tales of heart-wrenching betrayals and vicious acts of cruelty. Regardless of their magnitude, each confession sent ripples of shock and remorse through the crowd, and with it, an odd sense of liberation. The act of confessing, though painful and terrifying, seemed to offer a fleeting chance at redemption, an elusive hope of forgiveness. Burdens that had been shouldered for years, some even for lifetimes, were finally cast aside. Old wounds long festering began their long journey towards healing. Yet, in the deafening silence that followed the storm of confessions, no respite seemed to settle. The townspeople, having bared their souls, stood vulnerable and exposed, their faces reflecting a mix of relief and fear. A glimmer of hope tried to claw its way out of the engulfing darkness, tremulous and fragile, like the first hesitant light of dawn breaking through a night filled with horrors. As the last shattering secret is revealed, an unsettling silence descends on the town. But has the curse actually been lifted, or does a more insidious doom await? In the heart of the pitch-black night, the town huddles in a collective shudder, its breath hitched in its throat, barely daring to whisper through the silence that has swallowed it whole. An ominous quietude has swathed the hushed hamlet, the chill of it only interrupted by the relentless tick-tocking of the town's grand clock. Each passing second echoes like a solitary drumbeat in the dead of the night, marking the march of time through the otherwise still, breathless darkness. The town, once a symphony of life and laughter, now stands petrified, trapped in a grim tableau of apprehension and dread. The buildings, once teeming with jubilation, now echo an unnerving silence. The joy, the revelry, the very essence of life that once animated the air, replaced by an almost palpable sense of terror. The once vibrant streets are now ghostly trails, the cobblestones sounding the lonely reverberation of a town held captive by fear. The moon, like a vigilant eye in the sky, casts elongated spectral shadows that twist and twirl with the wind's whim. The shimmering stars stand as silent observers to the town's plight, their aloof, detached glow offering scant consolation against such cold fear. The tranquility of the night, in its haunting calm, feels like a merciless mockery when placed against the harsh reality that the town endures. As the minutes stretch into agonizing hours, the night creeps along, each passing moment a trial of their fortitude, each ticking second to the town's unyielding spirit and resilience. A night devoid of incident eventually passes, a small but significant victory in the battle against dread. Relief washes over them like a soothing balm, momentarily freeing them from the crushing dread that had held them captive. Yet, as dawn's first light slices through the shroud of darkness, an unspeakable horror awaits them. Where there was usually a beacon of hope and rebirth now harbors a sickening sense of doom. The unforgiving light of day cruelly unveils the night's horrific secrets. The townsfolk emerge, their hearts leaden with the burden of uncertainty. The question hangs heavy in the air, slicing through the morning mist like a sharp-edged dagger. Has the witch's curse truly been lifted? Or is this just a deceptive lull before another tempest? Alas, the town's hope was short-lived. As the day wore on, the horrifying truth unfolded. Not only was the curse still in effect, but it had claimed its first innocent victim. A chilling end to a night filled with terror and a tragic beginning to the town's endless nightmare.